Caleb had a growing suspicion that his roommate, Ethan, was gay. The kind of gay his sister, a connoisseur of queer TikTok, would label a bottom. The theory solidified the day Caleb emerged from the dorm bathroom, steam clinging to his skin, ready to show off the results of his relentless gym schedule. He flexed, expecting some sort of reaction, but Ethan merely tossed a towel over his head, completely obscuring his view. Ethan told him to stop messing around, the words thrown over his shoulder without so much as a glance. Caleb frowned. Out of their 3 other suite mates, Ethan only ever seemed to have a problem with him. It was a challenge. Caleb had always been the friendly type, the guy who could get along with anyone. He couldn't stand the thought of someone actively disliking him. So he began to observe, a subtle, harmless tailing. His investigation yielded results when he saw a slender, fresh-faced freshman confessing his feelings to Ethan near the campus library. The kid had a delicate look about him, the very picture of what his sister would call a classic bottom. Ethan's rejection was swift and cold. He wasn't interested, he stated, and walked away. The clipped tone was so harsh that Caleb almost felt bad for the rejected admirer. Ethan was acting like a total jerk, an even bigger one than Caleb could be on his worst days. The freshman, not ready to give up, called out with tear-filled eyes, asking if Ethan didn't like guys. It was a scene straight out of some cheesy teen drama. Caleb thought the answer was obvious. Ethan was like a block of ice, flinching away from even the most casual friendly touch. He probably wasn't into anyone, destined to be alone. But Ethan's reply cut through the evening air. It wasn't that he didn't like guys, he just didn't like that particular type. The heartbroken freshman ran off, leaving Caleb reeling behind a large oak tree. It all clicked into place. Ethan, who was a good half a head taller than him, was secretly a bottom. His sister had given him the full rundown. Tops and bottoms, ones and zeros. If he didn't like the delicate types, then he must be into the big, muscular top types. No wonder Ethan got annoyed when Caleb showed off his body. Having those muscles on display all the time must have been driving him crazy with desire. From that day on, Caleb made a point to be more considerate. He kept his shirt on and made sure he was always freshly showered. He'd heard that gay guys could be particular about cleanliness, often put off by the stereotypical straight guy musk. Luckily, Caleb, despite his love for pickup basketball, was meticulous about his own hygiene. He imagined Ethan must have faced a lot of prejudice, which would explain why he was so guarded and closed off in the dorm. A wave of protectiveness washed over him. He decided Ethan didn't have to be so tough anymore. Caleb was here now, his strong, supportive friend. He would share this secret burden. If there was one thing Caleb was good at, it was being a friend. He scrolled through his chat history with his sister, a minefield of links and videos she'd sent in her ongoing quest to enlighten him. He found what he was looking for, a compilation of classic physique champions posing at the Olympia. His sister's intentions were always suspect, but Caleb genuinely appreciated the aesthetics of a well-built physique. He figured this was exactly the kind of thing Ethan would be into. The first step to friendship was sharing common interests. Waiting until their other suite mates were out, Caleb gestured conspiratorially to Ethan. He urged him to come over to his bunk, promising to show him something amazing. Ethan's gaze was so intense it felt like it could drown him, a silent that this had better be good. With a nervous cough, Caleb insisted it was worth it. As Ethan approached, Caleb pulled him onto the lower bunk and quickly stuck one of his earbuds into Ethan's ear. He drew the privacy curtain, plunging them into a dim, quiet space filled only with the sound of rhythmic breathing from the phone. The screen cast a faint glow on the faces of several massively muscular men performing their posing routines. Caleb grinned, whispering about how incredible their muscle definition was. He saw Ethan's throat move as he swallowed, his eyes flickering with what Caleb interpreted as pure delight. He was right. The guy was thrilled to see so many prime examples of his type. Leaning closer, Caleb murmured that he understood, that it was all cool with him. It was the first time they'd been this close without Ethan immediately pulling away. The faint, clean scent of Ethan's laundry detergent filled his senses. In the dim light from the phone, he noticed the tips of Ethan's ears were turning a deep red. He was clearly flustered. For someone who acted so cool and aloof, he was actually quite endearing when he was shy. Ethan's voice came out a little rough when he asked if Caleb liked men who looked like that. Of course, he did. Caleb nodded enthusiastically, wanting to convey his complete and total acceptance. As a gym enthusiast, he explained he could really appreciate the dedication. That was the physique he was aiming for himself. To demonstrate, he lifted his tank top, tensing his core to make his abs pop. Worried Ethan couldn't see clearly in the dark, he grabbed his roommate's hand and pressed it against his stomach, asking if he could feel how solid it was. Ethan's long, cool fingers went rigid on his skin, unmoving. His breathing seemed to get heavier. His eyes were locked on Caleb's face, making Caleb feel a little shy himself. He told Ethan to watch the video, not stare at him. But Ethan didn't listen. His gaze darkened, and he leaned in, trapping Caleb against the wall of the bunk. Caleb's heart hammered against his ribs. He put a hand on Ethan's chest, a confused panic rising. Something felt very, very wrong. This supposed bottom was giving off some seriously aggressive top energy. Just as he was processing this, Ethan's low voice wrapped around him, suggesting that since Caleb understood everything, he would just... The sentence trailed off as a strange, wet, and soft sensation touched his earlobe. A strangled yelp escaped Caleb's lips. He scrambled back. 捂住耳朵，脸涨得通红. He, a perfectly respectable straight man, had just been molested by a bottom. He shoved Ethan away, stammering in outrage that just because Ethan was into guys didn't mean he could just take a bite out of him. He was 100% straight. Ethan froze, his expression hardening as his voice dropped several degrees. He demanded to know what Caleb meant. The sudden shift made Caleb's stomach clench. He'd messed up. He had just shattered the guy's self-esteem. He tried to explain, his voice small and cautious. He knew Ethan's secret about liking muscular guys, and he wanted to assure him that being a bottom was totally fine. That he didn't judge. Ethan cut him off, speaking his name, Caleb, with a strained patience. He ran a hand through his own hair and took a deep, shuddering breath as if holding back a monumental wave of frustration. He then told Caleb not to speak to him anymore. He ripped back the curtain, and the harsh dorm light flooded their small space, breaking the strange tension. In that sudden brightness, Caleb noticed something else. Ethan was visibly aroused. He was that desperate. Just watching a video got him that worked up. No wonder he was angry. It was pure embarrassment. Ethan stalked into their shared bathroom and stayed there for a full 40 minutes. Caleb couldn't stop his mind from racing, imagining things that made his own face flush. Who knew the campus heartthrob Ethan was such a natural-born bottom? Things were seriously messed up. For 3 days after their heart-to-heart video session, Ethan gave him the silent treatment. Caleb was miserable. Had he been too blunt? He consulted his sister, the expert, who explained that people in the LGBTQ+ community could be very sensitive due to all the prejudice they face. She told him he'd been too impulsive and should press on. He wasn't sure what victory she thought he was pursuing, but she knew more about this than he did. He decided to make things right. He just wanted to be friends. He sent Ethan a tentative text, a simple waving hand emoji. Ethan replied with a period. It wasn't a block. There was still hope. Caleb quickly typed out an apology, explaining that he genuinely just wanted to be friends and had never meant to mock him for being a bottom. After a long pause, Ethan replied, asking what exactly made Caleb think he was a bottom. Caleb felt a knot of anxiety tighten in his stomach. He confessed that he'd accidentally seen a guy confess to him and heard him say he wasn't into that type. This time, Ethan sent back a single, large smiley face emoji that looked anything but friendly. His next message made Caleb's heart sink. What if he didn't want to be friends with Caleb? Caleb typed back that this would make him very sad, adding a string of pleading emojis. He begged Eman not to ignore him, that it was breaking his heart. Ethan's reply started with "you're so," before trailing off. Caleb assumed he was about to get chewed out again. But then, a new message appeared. He could agree to be friends, but he warned Caleb not to be the one who couldn't handle it. Success. Caleb was ecstatic. Friendship was his specialty. There was nothing he couldn't handle. Ethan was clearly a good guy with a tough exterior and a soft heart. He spammed Ethan with celebratory emojis. Ethan replied with a facepalm. On the first day of their official friendship, Caleb decided to treat Ethan. He took him to his regular gym. It was packed with muscular guys, a paradise for Ethan. When Ethan emerged from the locker room in a form-fitting black workout shirt, Caleb let out an impressed whistle. He hadn't realized Ethan was so built under his usual sweaters. Unable to resist, he squeezed Ethan's bicep, noting with a twinge of envy that it was even more solid than his own. Ethan's ears went red again. Caleb found this reaction incredibly amusing and couldn't help but tease him. Him that if he got too muscular, no top would want him. Ethan's face immediately darkened. Wrong thing to say. Caleb mentally kicked himself for his big mouth. He quickly tried to recover, offering to introduce Ethan to several tops he knew from the gym. He expected Ethan to be pleased, but his roommate only seemed to get angrier, stalking off toward the weight racks at a pace Caleb could barely match. They were doing some warm-up stretches when a familiar face approached. Leo, an upperclassman Caleb knew, was a beast at the gym, the epitome of a top. He was one of the guys Caleb planned on introducing to Ethan. Leo greeted Caleb warmly, then his eyes landed on Ethan. Caleb, wiping sweat from his brow with the hem of his t-shirt, noticed both Leo and Ethan were staring intently at him. He made the introductions, mentioning that Leo was looking to date. He shot Ethan a meaningful look, but Ethan just glared back at him with an expression that could kill. Maybe he wasn't into Leo's type either? Leo sized Ethan up with a cool smile. He remarked that he and Ethan seemed to be the same type, and that he'd much rather spend his time with Caleb. Caleb's entire worldview tilted on its axis. Leo, the mountain of a man, was also a bottom? A top bottom? He was floored. No wonder Ethan was glaring at him. He'd probably figured it out immediately. The gay community was way more complicated than he thought. Leo grabbed a clean towel and gently dabbed the sweat from Caleb's forehead, offering to give him a hands-on tutorial for his back workout. Caleb was about to eagerly agree when he felt a heavy weight on his shoulder. Ethan had draped himself over Caleb, resting his head on his shoulder. His large, warm body pressed against Caleb's back like a giant teddy bear. For the first time, Caleb was acutely aware of the size difference between them. Ethan nuzzled against his cheek, his voice sounding weak and frail. He told Caleb he wasn't feeling well and wanted to go back. Panic flared in Caleb's chest, overriding everything else. He quickly made his excuses to Leo and rushed Ethan to the locker room. He asked if Ethan was okay. Ethan's response was a low no. He stood up, facing Caleb, and ran a finger down Caleb's cheek, his voice dangerously quiet. He said he wanted to claw Leo's eyes out. And Caleb's, too. The menacing aura scared Caleb. This bottom had a serious temper. He gently took Ethan's hand, telling him not to talk about gouging people's eyes out. He tried to placate him, saying he didn't know Leo was a bottom and that he had plenty of other guys on his phone he could introduce him to. Ethan's hand, which had just relaxed, tightened its grip again. He repeated Caleb's words with a chilling quietness. "You have several others on your phone?" Caleb explained they were just gym buddies he worked out with sometimes. Ethan fell silent for a long moment before speaking, his voice cold. He ordered Caleb to delete them. He insisted they were all after Caleb, and as a gay man, he knew these things. It was the first time Ethan had ever openly admitted it. Caleb was stunned. They all seemed like nice guys. Ethan's gaze was sharp. He warned Caleb that if he wanted to protect his ass, literally he'd stay away from them. The implication hit Caleb with the force of a physical blow. He thought about some of the more graphic fanfictions his sister had tried to make him read and felt a shiver run down his spine. He immediately pulled out his phone and blocked the numbers of his muscular friends. Ethan told him that he was the only one Caleb could trust, or he would get hurt. He patted Caleb's head, his tone finally softening. Caleb felt a surge of gratitude. Ethan was a good friend, a great bottom. If it weren't for him, who knows what trouble he could have gotten into. Ethan then claimed he was still feeling dizzy and asked Caleb to hold on to him on the way out so he wouldn't fall. Caleb's heart softened with pity. All those muscles were just for show. Deep down, he was so delicate he needed a strong friend to take care of him. Leaving the locker room, Ethan leaned his entire weight on Caleb. It was hard to tell who was supporting whom. Leo saw them from across the gym and started to walk over, but stopped short when he saw the icy glare Ethan shot in his direction. Caleb wondered if it would be okay to still hang out with Leo, since they were both bottoms. But Ethan whispered in his ear, his breath tickling his skin, that he didn't like Leo. He said bottoms were very possessive of their friends, then asked if Caleb couldn't handle that. Of course he could. Ethan was more important. The moment they left the gym, Ethan's illness miraculously vanished. He stood up straight, his mood visibly improved. The gym must have had some bad energy that disagreed with him. That night, a massive thunderstorm rolled in, knocking out the power. Ethan sent Caleb a text from across the darkened room. He was scared and couldn't sleep. Caleb's heart swelled. Ethan was finally opening up to him. He asked if Ethan was afraid of the thunder. Ethan confessed that his mom used to hold him during storms when he was a kid. He was probably going to be up all night. Caleb pictured Ethan trembling alone in his bed and couldn't bear it. He offered to come sleep with him. Ethan hesitated, asking if Caleb would be uncomfortable, given his orientation. Caleb was touched by his vulnerability. It was just two friends sharing a bed. He told Ethan not to worry and scrambled over. Climbing into Ethan's bunk, he found his roommate's skin was cool to the touch despite being under the covers. Ethan explained he had poor circulation. Caleb didn't hesitate. He wrapped his arms around Ethan, holding him tight like a giant plush toy. He was a natural human furnace. Ethan wouldn't be cold with him there. The bed was small, forcing them into a tangle of limbs. As the dorm room settled into silence, Caleb could hear Ethan's heart beating, a frantic rhythm against his own chest. He figured it was just the storm. He patted Ethan's back, telling him to sleep. Sometime in the middle of the night, he vaguely heard his name being called. He mumbled a response. He thought he heard Ethan whisper, asking what would happen if he didn't want to be just friends. Caleb, half asleep, dismissed it as a dream, mumbling that they had to be friends, that Ethan was a good friend. The plush toy in his arms seemed to squeeze him tighter. When he woke up, Ethan was spooning him from behind. The morning brought with it the awkward reality of two men sharing a small bed. Thank God Ethan was a bottom, Caleb thought, or this could have been a very different situation. After class, he went straight to the campus store and bought a hot water bottle and a pack of stick-on heating pads. He presented them to Ethan, who stared at the items, stunned into silence. Caleb explained that he could fill the bottle for him at night to keep him warm. He crouched down, worried he'd overstepped again, but saw a flicker of emotion in Ethan's eyes before he masked it. Ethan thanked him, his voice soft, asking why Caleb was so good to him. Caleb puffed out his chest. Taking care of his friends was what he did best. He said that when Ethan found a boyfriend, he should look for someone just like him, someone who would treat him right. Ethan watched him with a warm, gentle smile, the first truly unguarded one Caleb had ever seen. The coldness around him seemed to melt away. He agreed, his voice impossibly soft. He would look for someone just like Caleb. Their friendship deepened into an inseparable bond. Ethan started taking care of him in return, doing his laundry, bringing him breakfast, reminding him of assignments. Turned out Ethan was a brilliant student. Caleb's sister loved hearing stories about them. When she heard about the thunderstorm sleepover, she demanded to know if Ethan was hot. Caleb rolled his eyes but confirmed that he was campus crush material, constantly fielding confession attempts from both girls and guys on Ethan's behalf. But Ethan never said yes, always choosing to spend his weekends with Caleb instead. It was their suitemates who pointed it out. They started joking that Caleb and Ethan were basically dating, that Caleb had ditched all his other friends. The comment made Caleb pause. He realized his social circle had shrunk until it contained only Ethan. A strange feeling crept into his heart. But Ethan didn't have many friends. It was only right that Caleb spent time with him. Another suitemate warned him he'd never find a girlfriend if he was always attached at the hip with Ethan. That one stuck. He was being selfish. How could Ethan find a nice top if Caleb was always around? He started turning down Ethan's invitations to hang out. After a few rejections, the ice returned. Ethan's mood soured, his face a thundercloud during lectures. Caleb told him he should try to meet other guys. That made Ethan furious. He didn't yell, but his gaze was freezing. He asked if Caleb really wanted to see him hanging out with another guy, hugging him, doing all the things for him that he did for Caleb. Honestly, the thought made Caleb's stomach churn. Was it because he was straight that the idea of his friend with another guy was uncomfortable? He tried to explain that Ethan would eventually be in a relationship, and he didn't want to hold him back. Ethan cut him off, his voice firm. He wasn't holding him back. He leaned his head on Caleb's shoulder, his entire demeanor softening. He confessed that he didn't want to date right now, that he had very few friends, and begged Caleb not to abandon him. His voice was thick with emotion, and Caleb felt a painful pang in his chest. In that moment, Ethan seemed so fragile. He wrapped an arm around Ethan's waist and patted his head, apologizing and promising he wouldn't do it again. Ethan hugged him back, nuzzling his head against Caleb's neck like a big dog. Caleb rarely initiated such close contact, but holding Ethan now felt satisfying. It felt right, like two halves of a whole finally clicking together. He decided then and there to be Ethan's best friend for life. After final exams, their class organized a 2-day hiking trip. The entire time, Ethan was by his side, handing him water and wiping his sweat. Someone joked that Caleb was like Ethan's little wife. Caleb shot back that if anyone was the wife, it was Ethan. He was the bottom, after all. He immediately corrected himself. They were just best friends. That night, around a bonfire, they played Truth or Dare. The bottle spun and landed on a girl, who, when asked who she had a crush on, said Caleb's name. Caleb froze, his first instinct to look at Ethan. A sweet mate nudged him, telling him to stop looking at Ethan and respond to the poor girl. It was the first time anyone had confessed to him so publicly, and he felt his face heat up. But he barely knew the girl and didn't know how to let her down easy. A hand covered his on the log they were sitting on, and the steady pressure grounded him. He managed to apologize, explaining that he wasn't looking to date right now. The girl was cool about it, brushing it off and saving him from further embarrassment. His sweet mate slapped him on the back, teasing him for being so timid when he was just complaining about being single a week ago. Caleb just offered a weak smile. Strangely, the public confession didn't make his heart race nearly as much as when Ethan hugged him. He glanced at Ethan, who was staring at him with a heavy, intense expression that made his heart skip a beat. Caleb quickly looked away, clutching his chest. What was wrong with him? The game continued. The bottle spun again, this time pointing straight at Ethan. The question was simple. Did he have a crush on someone? Caleb was about to answer for him, of course not, when Ethan spoke. Yes, he did. Caleb stared at him in shock. He had a crush. The question of who it was hung in the air, but Ethan coolly stated that was a different question and refused to answer. A feeling like a cat scratching at the inside of his chest started up. How could Ethan have a crush on someone? They were together all the time. He poked Ethan, demanding to know who it was. Ethan's reply was a knife to the heart. He told Caleb he didn't need to know. The sounds of the bonfire and his classmates' laughter faded into a dull roar. He felt betrayed. He thought they were best friends who told each other everything. He stood up abruptly, mumbled something about not feeling well, and went back to his tent. Inside, he was furious. He felt like a prize-winning cabbage he'd been carefully cultivating was about to be eaten by some random pig. Ethan was good-looking, smart, and kind, a total catch. Who wouldn't fall for him? But the thought of Ethan sharing his life with someone else, another man warming his feet when he was cold, was unbearable. A strange, possessive anger burned in him. He pushed it down and focused on Ethan's safety. His sister had told him that for bottoms, the first time could be painful. He dug through the files she'd sent him and found one titled A Beginner's Guide to Safe and Pleasurable Bottoming. After a long hesitation, he sent the link to Ethan. He added a fake-sounding congratulations on his impending romance and a genuine plea for him to be careful. Ethan's reply came quickly. He seemed happy, thanking Caleb and promising to try every tip in the guide. The jealousy flared again. He typed out a snarky comment about Ethan's future boyfriend being a lucky guy. He wanted to say more, but Ethan stopped replying. Just as he was wallowing in his misery, his sweet mate called. Ethan was drunk, making a scene, and wouldn't listen to anyone, just kept calling Caleb's name. Caleb rushed to the bonfire and found Ethan being restrained by several people. The moment Ethan saw him, he stopped struggling. He looked up, his eyes glassy, and asked if Caleb had come to get him. He was nothing like his usual calm, collected self. Caleb helped him back to their tent. Ethan was clingy, following him everywhere. When Caleb went to change, Ethan tried to follow him in and ended up squatting outside the zipped-up flap, muttering to himself. Caleb couldn't help but smile. Drunk Ethan was surprisingly cute. After he got Ethan cleaned up a bit, he couldn't resist asking the question that had been tormenting him. He asked Ethan who he liked. Ethan just looked at him for a long, silent moment. Then, a slow, sweet smile spread across his face. He couldn't tell Caleb, he whispered. His smile was so full of affection that it made Caleb's jealousy spike. But then his expression turned sad, and he began tracing circles on Caleb's leg with his finger, because he murmured that person wouldn't like him back anyway. Caleb got angry on his behalf. How could anyone not like Ethan? He was perfect. He told him so. Ethan looked up, his gaze locking with Caleb's. He was a straight guy, Ethan stated flatly. The words hung in the air, and for a terrifying second, the intense way Ethan was looking at him made Caleb feel as if he were the straight guy in question. He let out a shaky breath and looked away, rubbing the back of his neck. What a coincidence, he said, just like me. Ethan's voice was low and insistent. Didn't he get it? A pair of long fingers cupped Caleb's face, forcing him to meet that intense gaze. Ethan's eyes were deep pools, threatening to pull him under. His long lashes cast soft shadows, making him look beautiful and vulnerable. Caleb's heart was beating faster than it ever had before. A strange heat enveloped him, a premonition that something was about to happen. The person I like, Ethan said, his voice barely a whisper, is you, Caleb. The world went silent again, except for the frantic pounding in his own chest. Ethan's face drew closer, and then his lips were on his, soft and warm and tasting of campfire smoke and beer. A tremor ran through Caleb's entire body. First came a bewildering rush of joy, followed by a tidal wave of panic. He shoved Ethan away and fled to the other side of the tent, zipping up the partition between their sleeping bags. He looked at his reflection in the dark screen of his phone. His face was flushed, his body buzzing with heat. He touched his lips. Ethan had kissed him. His mind was a civil war. Half of him was terrified. How could it be him? He didn't like guys. But the other half was cheering. Thank God. The pudding was still his. The movies were still his. The cold feet were still his to warm. The pig who was going to eat his prize cabbage was him. He eventually peeked back over the partition to find Ethan had passed out on his sleeping bag. His heart ached. Ethan was just a guy who had the misfortune of falling for his straight best friend. It wasn't his fault. He gently covered him with a blanket, his mind still a mess. The next morning, he packed his things and left early, texting the trip organizer that he had a family emergency. He slept most of the train ride home. When he got off, he saw 9 missed calls from Ethan. The 10th came through as he was looking at his phone. He took a deep breath and answered, launching into his excuse about a family emergency. Ethan cut him off. He told him to stop pretending. He remembered everything from the night before, and he knew that Caleb knew how he felt. The directness was like a second confession. The heat rushed back to his face, a completely different reaction than when the girl had confessed to him. So Ethan asked, "What's your answer?" Caleb's hand tightened on his pants. He admitted he hadn't figured it out yet. The line went dead. He frantically checked his messaging app and saw Ethan had posted a new status. Straight guys who lead on gay guys should be struck by lightning. He felt a pang of guilt. He wasn't a monster. He collapsed onto his bed at home, ignoring his sister's cheerful greeting. He couldn't stop checking his phone, but he was too scared to type anything. Finally, he sent his sister a message. Hypothetically, if a straight guy's heart speeds up when a gay guy confesses to him, what does that mean? His bedroom door flew open. His sister stood there, beaming. "You're finally gay," she shouted. He clamped a hand over her mouth, hissing at her to be quiet. He denied it was about him, but she just circled him like a shark. She pointed out his red face and told him he was totally in love with the guy from the thunderstorm story. When he finally broke down and told her about the kiss, she stared at him with wide, analytical eyes. She asked him if he felt disgusted, if he wanted to throw up. He mumbled that he hadn't, that it was actually kind of nice. A wicked grin spread across her face. "You're doomed," she declared. "You're totally, completely gay for him." He kicked her out of his room, his mind racing. She was right. The joy he'd felt when he realized Ethan liked him. That wasn't normal for a straight guy. He'd just been too scared to admit it. 19 years of being straight, and now this. He picked up his phone. He texted Ethan, "Are you okay?" The reply was instant. "Talk to me when you've figured it out." Cold. Caleb tried to defend himself, insisting he hadn't been leading him on. Ethan's reply was a rapid-fire list of accusations. Who invited who to their bunk? Who showed who a thirst trap video? Who made who touch their abs? Caleb had no defense. Ethan threatened to block him. In a panic, Caleb typed out a jumbled mess. It wasn't that he didn't like him, maybe they could try it out? He sent the message and threw his phone across the bed. 5 minutes later, he crept over to look. No reply. He sent another message, asking if Ethan was disgusted by him now. He begged him to reply. How had the tables turned so completely? He was supposed to be the one being pursued. Now he was terrified of being rejected. He had fallen for Ethan hard. 3 hours later, a new message came. "I'm at the station. I don't know the area." Caleb shot out of his house, dialing Ethan's number and asking if he was at the north or south entrance. He was on his way. Ethan was so damn romantic. It was worth it. He found him at the station, looking impossibly handsome and nervous. Caleb took his suitcase and guided him to the car, his own heart fluttering wildly. Inside the car, Ethan took his hand, their fingers lacing together. He leaned in and pressed a soft, gentle kiss to Caleb's cheek. "My boyfriend," Ethan murmured. Caleb's heart exploded like a bag of microwave popcorn. He was done for. He was so in love. He started driving, numbly replying that they were going to his house. Ethan suggested a hotel might be better, that this was moving fast. But Caleb couldn't bear the thought of being separated from him. He insisted Ethan come home for dinner, assuring him his parents were very open-minded. Ethan's hand squeezed his, a smile lighting up his face. "Okay," he said. "Whatever my boyfriend wants." At home, his sister peeked out, gave Ethan an approving look, and stage whispered, "Wow, brother-in-law, you're hot." Ethan just smiled at Caleb, who felt a blush creep up his neck. It felt like bringing his partner home for the first time. Dinner was wonderful. His parents loved Ethan. When it was time for Ethan to leave for his hotel, Caleb couldn't let him go. He dragged him to his own room, ignoring his parents' offer to make up the guest bed. Lying in bed next to him, Caleb wondered how he'd ever been blind to how attractive Ethan was. Ethan traced the lines of his face, his expression soft. He confessed that he came from a single-parent home, that his mother had passed away when he was young. Caleb's heart ached for him. He pulled him closer, overwhelmed with a desire to protect him. Ethan's fingers trailed down to his lips. The air in the room grew thick and heavy. They were two young men in love, and the tension was unbearable. They kissed, a desperate, fiery exploration that quickly escalated. They didn't go all the way, but it was intimate and beautiful. Falling asleep in Ethan's arms felt like coming home. Their relationship blossomed. They were open about it at school, and after the initial shock, their friends were completely supportive, saying it was obvious all along. Caleb felt their relationship was ready for the next step. After studying the guide his sister had sent him for 3 days straight, he booked a nice hotel room. He was nervous. Ethan had knitted him a scarf, and Caleb had worn it every day since, showing it off to anyone who would look. Ethan, who seemed so cool and aloof, was actually a caring, domestic partner, a skill he'd learned taking care of his sick mother. When Ethan walked into the room, looking incredible, Caleb's confidence wavered. What if he hurt him? What if he was bad at this? He confessed his nervousness, that he didn't really know what he was doing. Ethan's eyes darkened with desire. "It's okay," he whispered. "I'll teach you." Ethan started guiding him, positioning his body. Caleb followed his instructions, eager to please. "Wait a minute. This position." This was one of the poses for the receptive partner in the guide. "Just trust me," Ethan purred. Something felt wrong, but he nodded. "Okay, I trust you." "Wait, no, what the hell? Get out." Who was the top of all tops? It was Ethan. It was always Ethan. Caleb's muffled cries filled the room, shifting from protest to pleasure. The beautiful cabbage he'd been tending was never a cabbage at all. It was the wolf who had been hunting him from the very beginning. This was the tragic story of a straight guy who became a bottom for love. And damn it, why did he love him so much? Ethan's voice was a low rumble against his ear. "I love you too, Caleb. My boyfriend." He kissed his forehead, and they held each other, drifting off to sleep. It was going to snow tomorrow. They could go walk in it together. Ethan sighed. Straight guys who lead on gay guys should be struck by lightning. When Caleb pulled me onto his bunk and started whispering things to me, my heart hammered in my chest. When he took my hand and placed it on his abs, I was sure. This was it. He liked me. And then he told me he was straight. I spent 40 minutes in the bathroom trying to get myself under control. My thought process had been a roller coaster. First day of school. He's incredible, I have a massive crush, but he's obviously straight, so stay away. Pulled onto the bunk. He's incredible, my heart is going to explode. Maybe he's not straight. Maybe we can be together. Shoved away. Get away from me, you stupid, clueless straight boy. But then he wouldn't get away. He kept texting me, acting cute, wanting to be close. So I made my post, "You're so frustrating." He wanted to be friends? He thought I was a bottom? Fine. I would play along. I'd show him what a bad idea it was, and he would back off. But then I saw all the other guys at the gym looking at him, and he was just smiling, completely oblivious. The jealousy was sharp and ugly. He was so dumb. But he was my dumbass. I never intended to be real friends. But he was so relentlessly kind. That hot water bottle. It was such a small thing, but no one had ever done anything like that for me. My father was always away on business. Our house was huge and empty. When my mother got sick, I learned to take care of her, but after she was gone, I learned to be cold. That cheap plastic bottle felt as warm as my mother's hugs. When Caleb held me during the storm, I was content. He was bright and warm, like the sun. He was straight, a sun I shouldn't touch. But I was greedy. I wanted that sun to shine only on me. So I worked my way into his life, subtly, until he depended on me. The camping trip was a test. And then he sent me that ridiculous link about bottoming. The last of my hope shattered. I was an idiot for falling in love with a straight man. He really only saw me as his bottom friend. I got drunk. All I could see was him. All I wanted was him. His lips looked so soft. I'd been wanting to kiss him for so long. So I did. It was just as good as I'd imagined. Then I woke up on the ground. Alone. He was gone. The calls went to voicemail. I thought I'd finally scared him away. I had miscalculated. He couldn't accept it. I decided not to chase him. It was the best thing for him. I was anxious, checking my phone every 10 seconds, but I wouldn't push. I could wait. I would wait for my son to decide to come closer on its own. And he did. And yes, Caleb, I will be trying every single one of those 108 positions on you. Thank you for loving me back.